Salutations friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a fragrance overview of all the fragrances from Tsvga Parfvms. If you'd like to know what I think about these fragrances and a little bit about each scent, then keep watching. Now before I get into my little opening spiel, before I get into the list, I'm just gonna let you guys know I'm gonna have timestamps for all of the fragrances, so that way if you want to jump ahead to a specific fragrance, you can do that. You don't have to sift through the entire video. That's why I'm letting you know now before I do my whole crazy minute intro before I get into the scents. So definitely they will be in the description box, and I also have a pinned comment below. So if you just are interested in one or two, that should make it easier for you guys to navigate this video. So also, Cat Cup is back. I'm still coughing, and this is filled with tea. And if there's weird jumps in here, it's because I had a coughing fit. So please forgive me. Welcome back, Cat Cup. I'm trying to think if I should give it a name because I have a feeling it's going to be a regular addition to my videos, especially during fall. For some reason, I'm just super congested. It's not fun. I'm very sorry. All right, Tsvga Parfvms. Let me kind of do a little TLDR for you. I was actually going to go into a very kind of long, drawn-out description of the house and history of the house, but really I think you should check out the website. He gives a lot of information. The website is really well put together, and I think that he will tell his story and history best than I could. Also, if you sign up for the newsletter on his website, he has a 10% off coupon, so definitely check that out. But I'll give you a little TLDR of Tsvga Parfvms. Tsvga Parfvms was started by James Barry, also known as Mr. Niche Guy, a fragrance reviewer on YouTube and a fragrance enthusiast. Tsvga Parfvms was created from his love of perfumery, and I love the idea of YouTubers working and creating fragrances. I like the idea of anybody creating fragrances. It can be writers, it can be bloggers, it can be vloggers. More fragrances out there I think are exciting, and I think people taking their natural creativity and creating what they want to see in the world is something I love to see and support, whether you take on a more creative director role or you take on a quite literal role. I think there's room in the world for everybody, and I think James Barry has created some pretty fantastic scents, so congratulations, James. Now, when I made my initial purchase of Mellifera, I have a review of this, it'll be linked below. I was sent probably, I want to say close to half the line in samples or a little less, just a few kind of samples that came with my purchase. And just so you guys know, I did purchase Mellifera full price, didn't reach out beforehand and say, hey, I'm a fellow reviewer, I'm buying something. I just bought it. And then afterwards I started talking to him, and we were talking about tinctures and perfumery, and he's like, let me send you the few other samples that you didn't get and you can experience the whole line. So thank you, James, so much for that. He didn't send them to me to review, he just sent them for me to try. And I'm definitely looking at making a few more purchases in the next few months from him, so I am really excited about that. But for transparency in regards to getting the samples and things like that, I got most of them when I made my purchase, and my purchase was made full price, and we got into that last video. So the first three fragrances I'm going to talk about are going to be my favorites from the line, because I want you guys to know the ones that I think deserve the biggest showcase, in my opinion, and my taste in fragrances and the way I think that they're built and put together, and also wearability and just being less challenging. What I like people who create fragrances who have taught themselves, I think that they're less strict on the rules of what a composition of a fragrance should be. They have the ability to be a little bit looser and take a little bit more risks. And I think that I love the strict style of certain perfumery, like the fragrances you see come from Penhaligon's, the fragrances you see come from older perfume houses. These specifically, this is the formula to make a chic prey. This is a formula for this. This is a formula for this. And I think that within the confines of those rules, real beauty can come from, because they're established for a reason, because those are very successful. But I also like seeing people take charge and take creativity. And I think that's where James Barry's line, Tsvga Parfvms, shines. So the first three favorite fragrances obviously are Mellifera. I bought this blind because I love honey scents, and this definitely smells, like he says, all things from the bee. If you know the difference between propolis, royal jelly, honey, the different types of honey, the different way honeys can smell when they're developed in different parts of the world with different flowers. This takes on a unique aspect of a very smoky, rich honey that kind of smells tobacco-y or woody, or kind of like, I described it as like cigar tobacco. There's a richness to this fragrance. I get the kind of balmy, balsamic aspects of propolis and the sweet powderiness of bee pollen. And to me, if you've ever tried or smelled palmetto honey, it kind of reminds me of that. It's a beautiful, sweet honey fragrance without being sweet. I really love it. I have a review below, check it out. And yeah, definitely love this one a lot. If you want to see what the presentation looks like, all of his presentations kind of fit the same thing. They have this laser cut wood, and then the wrapped cap in these specifically kind of round, thinned little bottles. They're very nice, they're different, they're unique. And I think that when somebody takes a literal fragrance journey to create a fragrance line, I like seeing personal, unique, artisanal, like a very artisanal touch to his presentation. And he actually talks about that a little bit on his website. So my second favorite is one that I'm also going to go a little bit about tinctures. I'm so excited. So the second favorite, or the one that I think is another like banger of a scent, is wine and chocolate. Now, the winning aspect of wine and chocolate is most definitely the wine. Now, he created his own wine tincture, and when we were talking about tinctures, he was kind of lamenting that nobody thinks it smells like wine. Everyone thinks it's gonna smell like vinegar. And he's like, do you want to try it? And I was like, yes. Now, when he sent it to me, I was really excited because I wanted to see how this smells, having kind of played around with creating tinctures myself. And I was really impressed. It smells like a really rich bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon or a red Zinfandel. It's got a little bit of tannic, a little bit of an acidity to it, like a tannic acidity to it, but it also has a nice oakiness and a bit of a fruitiness too. And if you hear my cat screaming in the background, he really wants to come in this room, but he is not allowed when he was trying to eat one of my bottles of perfume. I was like, no, you've lost privileges. Wine and chocolate, because of the success of that tincture and that note, it really emulates as something luxurious and rich and kind of romantic. You have this wine, this oaky, this fruity, this kind of smoky note, a little bit of a booze to it, but it's distinctively wine mixed with this really decadent and luscious chocolate, and it just comes together to create something really sexy, really romantic, perfect for fall and winter time. Really easy to smell and experience. I mean, a lot of people know what chocolate smells like, and some people know what wine smells like, but at the same time, just them coming together and the marriage of the two just creates something really luscious and beautiful and delicious. So I think it's a really successful fragrance in its simplicity in regards to it just smelling like wine and chocolate, but there's little nuances in the chocolate and the creaminess, and again, that kind of oaky acidity that the wine note has just creates a really solid scent, and I think it's really spectacular. Number 3 is Vicki Lin, and I accidentally held this one up when I was talking about wine and chocolate, so if you saw my little sleight of hands, yeah. It's a thing. I'm a magician. I'm not. But Vicki Lin, let's talk about Vicki Lin. Vicki Lin is, if you were to ask me, Kristin, what kind of fragrance do you want to see in the world? This is a fragrance I'd want to see in the world. I talk about some of the ways I like to smell and some of the scents that trigger scent memories for me. And one of them is the smell of campfires. And I talk about it, and when I talk about MFK, like Oud Cashmere Mood, why I like that one so much is because it smells like a campfire. What I like about Vicki Lin is it smells like a camping experience, and it smells animalic, smoky, woody. It just has this feeling of being on a beautiful campground, idealistic camping experience, and I think it's really successful. I like that it's smoky and slightly sweet, but it's not heavy on the sweetness, which a lot of very kind of woody, smoky scents rely on. A lot of people pull in like cherries or red fruits, which to some degree can kind of give almost like a barbecue sauce vibe, but I think that smells really sexy on the skin. Like, I'm not against it, but what I like about this is it doesn't pull that deep, sweet, fruity note that I smell in a lot of like smoky scents that are reminiscent of campfires. It just smells like a camping experience. You're there with people you care about, you're having a good time, and it just has a little bit of complexity to it, but it kind of makes it really wearable and a really great experience. I think it's fantastic if you're looking for a smoky, woody scent for fall and winter. I think Vicki Lin is great, and I'm pretty much definitely going to be buying that one. So this will be added to my collection soon, along with wine and chocolate at some point. I don't know when, hopefully within the next year, but we'll see. But it is perfect scent. The next two I'm going to talk about, one I don't have with me. It is Blue Heaven. I have it written on here. I don't know where my sample is. I was wearing it in, I think I was taking it with me when I was running errands because I was wearing it throughout the day, and I just don't know where it is. It might be in my car, it might be in my bag, like at the bottom depths of my bag, but I don't know where it is. So we're gonna use this one as a placeholder just so we're here. Blue Heaven, I think, is a beautiful take, again, on just an aquatic scent without it being stereotypically aquatic. It's very uplifting, musky, animalic, a little bit salty, but it has a beautiful kind of tranquility to it. And you might be like, tranquil? I think about using words like effervescent, conceptual, things like that. I have a very idea of what it smells like in my mind. Think like aromatherapy. So when I think of tranquil, I'm thinking of cool, calming, like refreshing, uplifting blue. And Blue Heaven definitely smells blue. It's slightly sweet, it's musky, a little animalic, again, a little salty, just a teeny bit in there, just a little bit. At least on my skin, it could definitely not be in there. My skin pulls salty notes like a fiend. But what I like about it too is it's a little bit fruity. I think this fragrance is unique if you're looking for one of those scents that not everybody wears but is wearable just about anywhere, anytime. I think it's the most versatile scent from the line in regards to being wearable, being unique, and also being appropriate like year-round. It definitely is more of a summertime evening scent in my opinion, but I think that it has the bones to be a great daytime scent in fall and winter too. The next one, and this one I was only able to wear once, is Myhhrder. Now, if you guys don't know, John cannot handle myrrh, and that's fine. I try to limit it as much as possible in my fragrances, and the fragrances that do have myrrh I don't wear around him, so I had to be very mindful about wearing this. And since it is COVID times and we don't leave the house anyway, I was only able to wear this once, so do take this review with somebody only wearing it once. It's a beautiful resinous scent. It's deep, rich, and just gorgeous, and if John would not have an issue with myrrh, this would definitely be a contender for one that I would definitely purchase in the future. Next up is one of the most interesting scents from the lineup. In my opinion, the most challenging, but I'm not saying challenging in a bad way. I've talked about this before and I'll probably do a dedicated video on it, but it's Juxtaposition. Now this is mystery, right? You don't know what the notes are, you don't know what the two families form together to create something. Juxtaposition. This is a unique scent, first and foremost. This scent you have to wear on skin. You have to. You can't try it on a strip. It smells really good on a strip, but it needs the warmth of your skin. It needs your body chemistry to bring out the complexity and the hidden notes of this secret ingredient. But Juxtaposition to me smells briny salty. It smells, how do I put it, smoky, animalic. There's something in there that smells briny and like very sharply briny. And there's something about that I'm kind of living for. So I've talked to you guys before how I like challenging scents. I like things to be different. I like things to be a risk, you know? I like scents that don't smell like your everyday run-of-the-mill woody animalic, aquatic, floral, aromatic, chypre, something, you know? And I do like those scents too, obviously. I do like classic compositions a lot. But with challenging fragrances, I like it when it's borderline like unwearable, but in a really positive way. Now, Juxtaposition is not unwearable. Let me just say that out loud. It's not one of those crazy like Secretions Magnifiques level of what did you do, But there is a difference to this fragrance when it comes down to the composition, when it comes down to how it plays on the skin, that not a lot of people are going to be comfortable with without trying on your skin first. Of all the fragrances, this definitely isn't a safe blind buy. But what I like about this fragrance is that kind of jarring juxtaposition that the fragrance has. It's kind of like a meeting of two conflicting flavors that really don't go together, that come together to create a unique kind of palatable, delicious feast of a drink or something. I don't know. I need my cat cup. Give me a sec. If I had to describe Juxtaposition, it's a battle between sweet and salty. And so you have this super salty, briny, kind of like pickly scent. But that woody scent that kind of mimics pickles. But the saltiness really goes with the sweetness, and they come together and they're great. And then you have this woody aromatic aspect to it, and it's a little bit smoky. There's a lot of different elements in this fragrance that kind of clash, but clash in a positive way. And it's something that you really have to experience on your skin. If you are interested in this house, I definitely would recommend purchasing the sample if you're picking a few other samples, because it is so interesting and definitely worth trying. But definitely, it's a drinking game. How many times can I say definitely? Make sure you try it on your skin, because it's not going to have near the magic that it's going to have on your skin. It's one of those scents, it needs that skin chemistry, needs that body chemistry to really open up and bloom on your skin. It's the more challenging fragrance from the line, but definitely worth checking out. It is excellent. Next up, Shirley. Now Shirley to me is the color green. If Blue Heaven is blue, Shirley is green. Shirley is a beautiful, kind of crisp, uplifting green scent. There's something about it that's slightly sweet and playful, but there's a coolness to it too, like very heavy on the dew grass or a garden in the morning. It's very cold. It's a gorgeous. I could describe this in better words, which I can't. You guys know I'm horrible at this. I would also describe it as fragrant and crisp and aromatic. So there's some green scents out there that smell like wet grass. There's some green scents out there that smell like herbs and spices and lawn clippings. And those scents are great. And I like those scents on skin because they're very uplifting fragrances, and they just work really well on people. They just smell very refreshing. They smell very handsome. And they also work very well if you're tired of the stereotypical kind of springtime flowers kind of fragrance, but you still want to be appropriate and kind of crisper with slightly warm weather. This is a great scent. Fragrances that are heavy on the green chlorophyll, photosynthesis type of scent. Shirley hits all those marks. The greenness is crisp and jagged, and it's cool and fragrant and uplifting and crisp and aromatic, slightly woody, a little bit sweet too. Think like sweetgrass. That's kind of like what this is very reminiscent of. It's a great daytime scent. I don't know if I would recommend it in the evening time unless it's like the dead of summer when it's like super hot and you're like, oh boy. But if you're looking for a unique green fragrance that doesn't smell like everything else but is still very complimentary and attractive, I think Shirley is great. Milestone is next, and this fragrance specifically I think is one of the more complex out of the line, just according to my nose, which you guys know is not very good. Milestone has a lot going on, and it has one conflicting element to it, which I think makes it amazing. So I got a lot written on this one. I'm gonna look to my little cliff notes here, so excuse me while I look down. This fragrance is a waxy, smoky scent. It has animalic notes to it. It's kind of herbally. It has what I feel like is either mint or menthol. Something in there is like cool, like to the smell. Like you ever kind of like eat a mint and then the mint's gone and then just the roof of your mouth is cold? It kind of has that cold, tingly feeling when you smell it, like in your nose. It's really very refreshing, a very refreshing scent, and it's a little bit chocolatey too, more of a cocoa and less of like a chocolate syrup. I think it's really, really nice. I love that this one takes so many different turns, and that's why I had so many notes. I just kind of quickly did a little look at my paragraph I wrote there. Milestone to me is just as complex as Juxtaposition and has a lot of conflicting things like Juxtaposition, but it's less challenging. And again, challenging is not a negative, challenging is a positive, and you know, Juxtaposition is designed to be kind of a mystery. Milestone is designed to be something that you experience. It's like a long winding road with different scenic spots you can take in and enjoy. You get this really gorgeous animalic note in there. You get this beautiful smokiness, you get this fragrant sweetness, and you get this woodiness, and it all comes together and you're like, this is what it's gonna be, and then bam, menthol means something. And you're just like, what? And it's like a chilled breeze on a drive. You're warm, you're taking in the sunrise or the sunset, you're driving, and bam, cold, bitter wind, but positive. And it's just like, it's so good. It's almost like the cool spot on a pillow. And I love the fact that even though it has that fragrant, cooling, refreshing note in there, whatever it is, the secret could be, you don't lose anything else. You don't lose that chocolatey sweetness. You don't lose that woody, smoky, animalic note or that muskiness. Like, those are all still incredibly present the entire time, but I love that little jab of something else in there, and that makes this a great, and I mean great, scent for fall. Next up, we have Osmanthus Toboggan. Now this one is really fun. What I like about Osmanthus, it's like a tongue twister, Toboggan, is that it's really quite sweet and straw-like, but it's animalic and aromatic, and I love that. So I love Osmanthus. I love that note. I love seeing it take center stage, but I also like it seeing it play kind of like a second fiddle to other notes as well. What I love about Osmanthus Toboggan is that it is a very masculine, fruity floral scent. It's really hard to kind of describe that in a way that doesn't sound like, girl, what are you talking about? The sweetness in here is animalic. If you can imagine an animalic sweetness, that's the sweetness in here. It kind of reminds me of the type of sweetness you would get from like a fig note or a date note. Or like a raisin, kind of like that overly fermented, dried sweetness, like a dried fruit sweetness. It's really great. It is very animalic, but it is not animalic in the idea of it being barnyard. It smells sweet and fruity and musky and straw-like, like floral straw. Like, it's just very dry and broomy, brushy, and it comes together to really create a beautiful fruity floral scent that is very masculine, very unique, a little challenging, and just at the end of the day, it's great. It's a really fun scent. Definitely smells like a very luxe scent too. It smells like something that you'd think like Xerjoff would come out with, or maybe some kind of off scent from Raja. It smells like that, like it kind of reminds me of the same composition but not the same notes of like Cruz del Sur too. Like, there's something about it that's a little different, and it kind of hits you a specific way, but it's really fantastic and very successful. Last and certainly not least is A Man and His Pipe. This is a very straightforward scent. It's smoky, animalic, masculine, and a little musky. It's just really easy to wear, probably the easiest to wear scent out of the entire line. It just smells very handsome and very distinguished, and kind of like an old world gentleman scent, like a hunter, like who's drinking bourbon by his trophy. It's a great scent, a great, just very strongly composed fragrance, but at the same time, it's not as, I'd say, challenging as the other fragrances from the line, but still very well done. I like how smoky it is. It's a little bit sweet, but again, I really like that animalic element to it as well. It kind of sets it apart from other kind of like smoky, tobacco-y fragrances. But at the end of the day, I'm a huge fan of Tsvga Parfvms. It's a beautiful, new, very distinctive, unique fragrance house started by a fellow fragrance reviewer. But whether or not it's a fellow fragrance reviewer, there we go. I think it's a wildly successful house, and I definitely commend him on a really awesome launch. So check out Tsvga Parfvms if you are so inclined. Again, to remind you, my three favorites are Wine and Chocolate, Mellifera, and Vicki Lin, but they are all fantastic scents. I'm going to end this video here because I feel like I'm going to be on another coughing fit, so we're just going to say goodbye. Thank you so much, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.